Well, good morning, Los Angeles, and welcome to one of the best restaurants in LA, a place I know Angelinos know and love, Hopwoo Restaurant, here in Chinatown, in the heart of our great city. And I want to welcome all of you. I know what a painful and struggling year we have had. We know that there has been more trauma, economic, health, the loss of friends, the loss of businesses, the loss of jobs. But Los Angeles is coming back. My message is very clear. We are strong, never bet against LA, and I'm here to share some very exciting news with local business owners and community members who love local businesses about how we can help all of our local businesses here in Los Angeles. LA is a city of stars, and small businesses and local restaurants are what gives us our sparkle. Our nights are a lot less bright without businesses, as we experienced over the past year when we were stuck at home or when we saw some of our favorite businesses disappear. But today we're bringing that sparkle back. And I want to start and thank the amazing work of our local businesses that have worked around the clock to save jobs, to save businesses, to save main streets in our neighborhoods. You've shown tremendous resilience, our small business owners. When the world turned upside down last March, we've seen your creativity, we've seen your ingenuity, we've seen your endless hard work. And for me, this is something personal. I'm the grandson of two small business owners. My grandparents on one side had a barber shop, on the other had a tailor shop. And so I wouldn't be here today as a mayor were it not for a city that believed in entrepreneurs. And so it's my responsibility now as mayor to pay that forward, to make sure that we use the tax dollars we've been given by Washington, D.C. and apply them to the people that need them the most. Through contactless delivery, we've watched the resilience of our businesses. Through live streaming and new technologies, you name it. We've seen businesses continually adapt to the changing environment. And now through our widespread vaccination efforts, glimpses of normalcy are finally returning. But it's almost like there's a little bit of a brake still on the car. Businesses are caught in debt, wondering if they can hire people. They're waiting for the main streets to come back. And some of that normalcy, though, never went away for those businesses that were able to stay open and keep us going. We could still have the comfort of a warm, fresh cup of coffee, the delicious taste of our favorite dumplings. We're able to get our hair cut back in shape after a rough at-home COVID cut, and I had one of those. It's one thing to order clippers online. It's another thing to try to make your hair look good. And we saw our small businesses adjust and readjust to changing guidance on keeping customers safe. It's been especially difficult for businesses that depend on physical gathering inside indoor spaces like this. They face supply chain issues, difficulty hiring, falling profits, childcare issues, and more. And any one of these is part of the everyday reality of running a small business. But for the last year and a half, our small business owners dealt with almost all of those challenges every day, all at once. So today I have a loud and clear message for our small business owners. Los Angeles is here to help you in your recovery. We know that you depend on revolving revenues to stay afloat, and that unlike big businesses and nationwide chains that have the cash reserves and resources to adapt and to grow, you've been in survival mode. What I love about LA is we're not just a city of chain stores. We have small businesses and new ideas blossoming every single day on our streets. And we know that every economic hardship of this pandemic hit women-owned and people of color-owned businesses especially hardest. And I want you to know that our City Hall is focused on helping you survive and thrive once again. That spirit guided us from minute one of our Safer at Home order. When COVID first hit LA, we immediately provided 741 businesses with microloans, $10 million, loans that we then converted into grants when people said, we can't pay those back. Using Federal CARES Act dollars, the city also contributed over $40 million of an estimated $100 million of grant funding through the LA COVID Relief Fund, together with our county, to over 7,325 small businesses, nonprofits, and microenterprises. And then the Mayor's Fund stepped up as donors, big and small, across LA said, we want to help save our businesses. Grants of $5,000 to an additional 1,030 businesses, those who are represented here behind us today. So we know you're not out of the woods, and we're not going to slow down. That's why it gives me great pleasure that today at noon, we will open up our Comeback Check program here in Los Angeles. I talked about this in my State of the City address this year, but it's a $5,000 grant to help you recover and it's funded with $25 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, allocated exclusively to this effort. That's $5,000 times 5,000 businesses, $25 million in total. And you can apply today starting at noon by going to comebackchecksla.com. That's comebackchecksla.com. And don't worry, there's always a rush the first few minutes. It's not first come, first serve. It's the window till November 2nd, and then we will make sure we choose evenly from all of those folks that are there. And the money can go to whatever you need. It can go to payroll, it can go to equipment, it can go to rent, it can go to insurance, it could pay off outstanding invoices, or simply just as working capital to continue your operations. Now we're here in Chinatown for a reason. And our hosts today are Judy and Liang of Hop Wu Restaurant. And I want to thank you for having us here today. We love coming here. My family's loved coming here over the years. It's a short walk from City Hall, and I know City Hall employees are many of your customers, and we can't wait for them to come back to work so they can come here. But months before any health orders limiting capacity, Chinatown restaurants felt the economic pain of COVID, as Asian communities across America were the targets of racism, of xenophobia, of hate crimes, and violence. Hop Wu received a $5,000 grant from the Mayor's Fund during the pandemic. That helped them pay for their past due bills to keep the restaurant operating. But we're also joined by peers of the Liangs, like Rafaela Caro, who is the owner of Estilo Hairstyle. In March 2020, Rafaela had to close her salon due to the health department's mandate from the county, but the rent was still due, and she faced closure of her salon after 22 years in business. But a $5,000 grant from the Mayor's Fund helped her to pay back the rent she owed her landlord, to catch up on bills and buy supplies, hang on to wash and style another head. As restrictions loosened a bit, she even brought her work outside for a while in order to follow the health precautions. And a $5,000 grant also made a difference for Christian de Gracia, who is co-owner of 1802 Roasters in Cypress Park. Christian started making pour-overs at a farmer's market and finally opened a brick-and-mortar location just in time to see COVID close its doors in Northeast Los Angeles. The grant helped 1802 Roasters purchase supplies and materials, hire up, and prepare the business to safely open for indoor dining. And last but not least, we're joined today by business partners, and I know only one could make it here today, but Tashaka Starwell, who is one of the co-owners of Los Angeles Executive Security Group, a micro-security company that's been in operation helping keep communities and businesses safe since 2014. And a $5,000 grant to them helped the company meet payroll and pay their utilities. These are just a few of the faces, and I love it because we look like the world here in Los Angeles. We come from every corner of the world. We come from every part of America. Some of us are lucky enough to have even been born here. But we are able to assist owners with this program, and building on that model, that's what the Comeback Check program is all about. But we're doing other things to help you too. As you might have heard me talk about in the past, LA Optimize is a great way to get your business caught up with the technology of today, to help you grow in the digital marketplace and have those contactless payments, to use social media, to have a web presence, and to be able to do online purchases. It's free. And every month we have a seminar that gives you even more information from some of the top companies in our country at lacityoptimized.org. So check that out. You can also visit any of our city's 9 business source centers. If you don't know what a business source center is and you're a small business owner, you need to know. And our great economic workforce development department, and you'll hear from Carolyn Hull, our incredible general manager, we every single day are waiting for you to show up so we can help you with access to capital, a business plan, figure out how you can get the employees you need, and so much more. There's debt and credit counseling, help for loans and grants, including helping you apply for a comeback check if you need that help. Our business source consultants are ready to help folks in your language too, multiple languages. So please go to ewdd.lacity.org. And let me close by thanking every single small neighborhood business that has been fighting to stay alive this entire pandemic. Please get the boost you need to recover. Get your comeback check. Again, that website is comebackchecksla.com. That's checks with an S. LA Comeback Checks, comebackchecksla.com. comebackchecksla.com. So as I said, it's open today at noon. It'll be open till November 2nd. It's the first of 3 application rounds, and you only have to apply once to be in the system. So it'll open up again, but once you're in, and you have an even chance with everybody else of getting one of these checks. And this level of support, including comeback checks, simply would not be possible without the talent, dedication, and hard work of Los Angeles Economic and Workforce Development Department. Thank you to the entire team for everything you do. I'll come back for Spanish in just 1 second, but in the meantime, let me introduce our great general manager, Carolyn Hull, who is the general manager of EWDD. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You bet.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Garcetti. Oh, sure, yeah. I'm not as tall as he is. Yeah. Thank you, Mayor Garcetti, for your leadership and support of small businesses in our communities throughout the pandemic. The Comeback Checks grant program provides a much-needed boost for the city's mom-and-pop shops, local restaurants, and small businesses to rebound. While Angelenos are resilient, these grants are an opportunity for our small businesses to fortify and propel their journey toward economic recovery. So go to comebackchecksla.com and as the mayor indicated, it opens today. There'll be 3 rounds, and please, if you need technical assistance, reach out to our website and visit one of our business source centers. We're here to help. Thank you again, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your support.
Thanks. As I always joke, short speeches win elections, so I'm voting for you, not the earlier guy who kept talking. But thank you, Carolyn, for you and your team. And I know there's other programs that we look forward to in the coming weeks, talking about as well, whether that's helping pay off your rent. We're going to have a program that's specifically focused on that. And hopefully, if we get more action, I want to just say very briefly, this is the time for Washington to pass both the infrastructure and reconciliation bills. It'll make a huge difference to our local businesses. It'll spur growth in our economy. And one last thing, if you didn't catch it in the news, Bloomberg Business did an analysis of all the big cities in America, and it came out last week. It said Los Angeles is leading the way of all the cities in America when it comes to employment and when it comes to the valuation of our companies. So both on the business side and the worker side, we're about twice the pace of California. We're outpacing all those Texas cities that always brag they're going to steal our businesses away. We're outpacing New York, Chicago, you name it. We're #1 in the country. That's great news, but we still got a long way to go. So, también en español yo quiero decir unas palabras de este programa. Y muy buenos días a todos. Y estoy aquí al restaurante de Hop Woo con un mensaje para los dueños de negocios pequeños de nuestra ciudad. Su ciudad está aquí para ayudarlos a recuperarse. Y hoy los negocios de Los Ángeles pueden aplicar por el programa de cheques de recuperación, una subvención del $5 mil dólares, en total es $25 millones. Y este fondo es parte de nuestro plan de rescate estadounidense. Estamos hablando de $5 mil para 5,000 negocios. Este dinero puede ser utilizado para sueldos, empleados, renta, utilidades, pagos de seguros y para reabrir o continuar operando. Y estos negocios pequeños son el corazón de la comunidad, el corazón de todos los vecindarios en Los Ángeles. Yo soy el nieto de dueños de empresas pequeñas. Por eso es crítico aplicar por este dinero. Y para aplicar puede visitar la página comebackchecksla.com. El periodo de aplicación abre hoy al mediodía y cierra el 2 de noviembre. Esta es la primera de 3 rondas de aplicaciones y usted solo tiene que aplicar una sola vez. Gracias a todos los negocios locales que han seguido operando desde el año y medio pasado y por todos los bienes y productos prohibidos a sus comunidades. Y estos ejemplos de estas personas son ejemplos de los dueños que son críticos al éxito de nuestra ciudad. Estamos aquí, somos aquí para ayudarlos y para ayudarnos también. Gracias, and with that, happy to answer any questions. Thanks everybody for tuning in.